Uno.
One.
Are we live?
I pressed it first before I.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the weekly narrative.
Welcome. Hello.
I'm gonna get an intro together like Tucker Carlson does. Hello, welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Hi, how are you?
Monologue. What's up, Steve? I see you in chat first.
First chatter.
Make sure you guys are wearing your mask.
Yeah, we don't want no super spreading events going on.
I just want to make sure Newsom doesn't see this and then send a hit squad to my apartment.
Put us on a list.
Yeah, or get on a list somewhere. You never know.
Yeah, we don't want to get listed anywhere because that would be bad.
I'm already on list. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure you're already on.
If you're not on a list, you're not doing life right. That's what I say. What's up, David? Guys,
What's up, David?
Grab a drink.
Grab a drink.
Sit back, relax. We're gonna talk tonight about how reality has become fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not gonna wear that.
Yeah, you don't need a dog muzzle tonight, Jeremy.
I'm gonna spread as much as possible. I can't drink the vodka through the mask.
Yeah,
unless I cut a little slit in there.
Well, I mean, according to Comrade Newsom, he wants us to, every time we eat, we need to bring the mask down, eat, put the mask back up, bring the mask down, eat, put the mask back up. So.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see
a straw. Steve says a straw.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Now you're thinking, Steve. Look at the intelligent, amazing creatures that we have in our.
You can't drink straight vodka through a straw, though.
That's
Come
true.
On. Let's be honest. The mask sterilizes the vodka. What's up, Noah?
What's up, Noah?
Come on, guys. Come on in. Grab a seat.
David says just eat through a straw.
Yeah.
I mean,
just blend everything together
like they do for old folk, and just
eat
with a straw.
We're only a few years away from being in the Matrix pods, and at that point, you're just gonna get it injected straight into your stomach.
Oh yeah.
The nutrition gel.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever it is.
And you're gonna just be linked up through your little brainstem thing.
You'll have your neural link, using your brain as a crypto mining farm.
Mm-hmm. And then you get fed whatever nutrients you need through a tube into your stomach. You know, it's just like being in the womb again, but you're a grown human.
I was gonna say, I think we should go full accelerationist on the mask stuff.
Oh yeah.
Let's bring in the anime futuristic stuff, where we have mechanical implants on our faces. And respirators attached to your chest or your throat or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll wear a full helmet all day. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've got multiple that I could wear, and it would look way cooler.
Yeah, for real.
I would scare people too.
Oh yeah.
Intimidate. There's definitely an intimidation factor.
Of course there is, because nobody wants to mess with the guy that has bio stuff on his face.
No. Yeah.
Nobody wants to mess with that guy. What's up with him?
Let's do it. Let's make it cool.
Nobody messes with the Borg in Star Trek. So if the Borg was here on this planet, then nobody wants to mess with that.
Yeah, exactly. There's only two ways to really fight the mask stuff, and that's to rebel and not wear it.
Yep.
Or
comply.
Agree and amplify. Mm-hmm. So agree and amplify is always a good strategy anytime you're presented with something that someone's trying to use as a knock against you. And let's just go full robotic helmets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been saying since the beginning that these masks are just a sign of compliance. That if you're in a crowd of people and there's only a couple people who aren't wearing masks, you know who the ones that don't give a shit are, and it's easier to pick them out.
Well, I have to tell you guys this story. I found so we talked about last time how the way to do it was we need to stand up.
Yeah, we all just need to stand up and say no more.
Rebel against it.
Mm-hmm.
I found a gym near me that's open still, and the owners are basically saying, "Hey, F you, we don't care." They taped up all the windows with plastic,
so they can't look in.
The doors are locked from 9 to 5, which is when the health inspectors or whatever, the health Nazis are active, because that's when they're on the clock.
Yep.
So they can't come in. And when I go in there, nobody's wearing masks at all.
They don't care.
No, nobody's wearing masks.
You don't need a mask to bodybuild. I'm sorry. You need to breathe more effectively when you're trying to get gains.
You probably, it's not even just the gains. You probably build so much more immunity just from the sheer physical exertion. That
being around all that testosterone.
You get, you make your body stronger. You build your immune system, and you get COVID. You're gonna beat it in a day, and then you're gonna have the antibodies, and then that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
what they want is for everyone to be in a perpetual state of weakness where you can't go to the gym. They don't tell you about vitamin D. They don't tell you about proper nutrition. They don't tell you to sleep 8 hours a night. And then you get it, and then you get completely effed up by it.
Oh, yeah.
Also because you have secondary factors, like you're fat, because we've all been told that fat shaming is wrong and that being fat is totally cool and you can be healthy at any size. We've been told all this
You're
BS.
beautiful no matter what size you are. It's like, no, I'm sorry, no, you're not.
Yeah, all the propaganda that you've been fed has led up to this point. Really, it's all like kind of leading into the effectiveness of.
It is. It really is.
Yes.
I think I have on the Google Doc that you and I have together. There was a article about China's way of like fat shaming people, and it was so fun.
Oh, nice! I can't wait to get into that.
I was gonna say we could get into that. That one's pretty funny.
We'll get into that.
That
We'll
was pretty funny. And then, but what's even more cringe is that they posted these signs up, and then some people complained, and they had to like take the signs down. I was like, oh,
In China?
Yeah, in China.
Oh, they're complaining.
Yeah, somebody was
China's getting soft already.
a little bit, yeah.
Oh man, what's up, Noah?
Maybe-
We got David, Steve. Who else? We got Gooch.
We got
What's
the
up,
Gooch. The Gooch is in the channel. Hell
Gooch is
yeah.
in the house.
Gooch
Stalking
is
horse.
in the house. Stalking
What's up,
horse.
guys?
The guys,
What's
it's the
going on?
gang.
The gang is in the house.
We got all of our fan favorites. I love it.
Let's take a brief glimpse at some of the articles we'll be going over today. We've got a couple local articles that I wanted to share with you guys that are kind of gonna give you a brief overview of a more national trends, right? Such as racism has been declared a public health crisis in Sacramento County. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Nobody knows.
Nobody really knows,
Maybe we'll
but we're
find out.
gonna try to figure out what it means.
Maybe we'll find out. Also, we've got a Trump supporter arrested at a Stop the Steal event here in Sacramento.
It was an illegal protest, by the way, but it's okay.
Not illegal. No.
I mean, it wasn't
It
illegal.
just wasn't permitted,
It wasn't
that's all.
permitted. That was it.
We've got New York Governor Cuomo to receive International Emmy for virus briefings.
Oh, okay.
That should make some questions pop up in your head
I mean,
as to why he's getting an
why
Emmy.
is a governor getting an M? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got some articles and some information about Transgender Day of Remembrance.
Yeah, because we need to remember the few transgenders
Did you
in
guys?
the world.
Did you know that yesterday was Transgender Day of Remembrance?
No, I'm not in on the whole transgender stuff.
You're supposed to be my LGBTQ plug. Come
My
on.
the gay plug. Well, you know,
You're supposed to be my insider.
that's true, but the trannies are their whole own breed of
All
problems.
right, so
and-
we're gonna be going over Transgender Day of Remembrance and what that really means.
yeah. And oh my God, look at that! We got a $5 super chat from the Gooch.
Gooch
The Gooch is providing us with a $5 super chat.
representing
Representing the
Right off the
$5
bat,
super chat.
setting the
off
tone.
Setting the tone. Come on, y'all.
$5 super chat.
You're gonna let the Gooch one up y'all with a $5 super chat? Come on now. Don't let the Gooch one up you on that.
Much love. Thank you, Gooch. Hey man, you are the man.
Yeah, we love you, Gooch. You're awesome.
Glad to see you back. We've solved racism,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got an image that will prove that to you guys. And also, we've got an update on Asians and their racial classification.
Yeah.
Turns out they're not actually considered people of color anymore.
Yeah, they're not discriminated enough against, so they're no longer people of
some
color.
school districts are changing the classification of Asians, and we want to make sure you guys are aware of that because, as far as I was concerned, Asians were still people of color.
Yeah, of some kind. Some
I mean,
of them.
you're kind of Asian.
I have
and
a
you're
little.
colored.
I have a little Asian in me. I got a little Filipino
You're
in
definitely
me.
more colored than me.
More color than you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm mostly white. I mostly have a European ancestry, but even in Europe, there's brown Europeans.
Your card has been revoked.
I know.
You're white now.
I'm totally white.
Do you feel the privilege flowing through you?
A lot of people would look at my mom and my dad and be like, "Yeah, you're white." I'm like, "Okay, whatever," but you know, it's okay. But yeah, Asians being getting that POC classification taken away. Oh no, how dare they? Yellow is a color. Agreed, Dave. I say that, but you know, I say white is a color too. But people, you know, apparently that's not racist. So that's not cool to say.
We got Skip McBurney. I would have thought the homeless communities across the country would have been decimated by now, but the homeless community seems to be untouched by the coronavirus. Isn't that weird?
I mean, they're prospering, man. As far as I can see,
They're killing it.
they're killing it, man.
They're killing it here in California. I can
They're
say
killing
that
it
for sure.
super bad in
I don't know if
California.
you guys are seeing homeless where you're at, but whew, man.
I mean, they do have it pretty bad here too, but you know, some of them are doing pretty good, even though they're sleeping on the streets.
So that's a pretty beefy lineup. that we've got for you
I
guys
think-
in the stories, and maybe we'll cover a couple more.
Yeah. And whatever you
auxiliary
guys want to
stories
maybe talk about,
outside
maybe we'll
that.
take some suggestions in the chat as well about what you guys have learned and listened to.
David says that China's injecting their men with TRT,
It's TRT.
testosterone.
It is testosterone?
TRT just means testosterone replacement
Okay.
therapy.
Okay.
So testosterone, TRT
So
is like a therapeutic dose.
So their
of-
men just don't produce enough natural testosterone on their own, so they have to inject them with more?
well, I don't think men in general today are producing enough testosterone.
That's
Like
true.
across the board.
That is true. They are pretty low T, not going to lie.
We're super low T in America because we're chugging the soy. We're giving kids
Giving
test-
kids
hor-
HRT,
hormone blockers at
hormone blockers and HRTs.
11
hormone
years old.
Yeah. Well, we're doing hormone blockers at 4 and then transitioning them at like 12.
We're putting hormone like fluoride and stuff in the water that
Oh
messes
yeah,
with
making frogs gay, all that
making the
stuff.
frogs gay. All the products,
Making everybody gay.
All the products
Including
that you
me.
use, all the products you use have endocrine disruptors in them that
Oh,
mess
yeah.
with your hormone levels. I mean, come on.
No wonder I'm so fucked up. No wonder you're so pure and beautiful, Jeremy.
Yes, clearly I was exposed to much testosterone.
He's got
adequate levels of testosterone here.
Yeah, he's got plenty of the T. Like, yeah. He's got that T. He's got the T hookup.
Dave MCL, you are late, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
Dave, you're normally the first one in the chat.
Be on time next time.
Yeah,
buddy.
Dave, come on now.
Jesus,
Shame on you.
get with it. All right, guys, let's jump into some
Let's
of these
jump into
articles.
these-
These are fun. I'm
This is just going to be fun, just us trying to dissect what these
the
articles are
title
talking
of the
about.
stream is that fiction becomes reality because
Yeah.
the point is all these stories we're going to tell you are all complete BS,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a large portion of the population that really believes that this is
They're going to
how,
read this and go, oh, this is the truth.
this is how things are.
Oh, Dave says, so sorry, I was playing LOL. Dave, you're fired. You shouldn't play that drivel. I'm just
Wow.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay, hold on. I got a paywall on Boston Globe. I have to open this in a private window here.
Hold on, y'all. Technical difficulties.
No, I'm hacking it, guys. I'm
Hacking it, total hack.
using my elite hacker skills.
He's got them leet skills with not leet with the E's, leet with the 3s.
1337.
Yeah, 1337.
Bam.
Look, even Noah agrees with me. He says, Dave, no excuses. Yeah, thank you, Noah, for being our backup.
That's why your testosterone is low. Because you're playing League of Legends.
Yeah, because you're playing League of Legends.
No, I'm messing with you. Your T levels are through the roof if you're watching this stream.
Yeah. If you're watching this stream, your T levels are through the roof, and like if you're a woman and you're watching this stream, you're the most beautiful, amazing creature on the planet. Like, let's put it that way.
This is okay. I got it.
You got it? You got it?
No, OBS is trying to OBS is fighting back too now.
Oh, okay. They don't like you. Your elite hacker skills.
Bam, bam. I'm getting it though.
You getting it? We got you guys. We got you guys. Hold on. Hold on. Look at Jeremy. He's working his magic. He's the magician here. Oh my gosh. Just watching him do all this in front of us.
Bam.
Pow, ka-chow. Ka-chow, ka-chow.
New York Governor Cuomo to receive international Emmy for virus briefings.
Oh, okay. Virus briefings apparently
Jesus.
is Emmy worthy. Hold on, y'all. We're going to get this right for you guys.
Oh no.
Oh no. Come on, Jeremy. I believe
Okay,
in
this
you.
is all you get. You get a tiny window.
You get a tiny window until we can figure out something else.
Deal with it.
You're going to block out
It's
Jeremy's
better than
face
nothing.
only. Y'all
Yeah,
get to
you
look
guys-
at me.
You guys don't get to look at me.
You get to look at me, so I'll just look at you longingly. And while Jeremy reads this article for you
Albany,
guys.
New York. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is set to soon receive an International Emmy Award for his once daily televised briefings on the coronavirus pandemic that killed tens of thousands of New Yorkers this spring. Did you know that he was giving daily updates?
I heard that he was. Yeah.
So this is the result of that. People from the International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, whose members include media and entertainment figures from over 60 countries and 500 companies, announced Friday it plans to present the award to Democratic governor in a live-streamed show Monday.
Oh my God. Betas.
But why?
Because I don't know why. Like, it's quite silly. But maybe they'll explain it more in the article. Let me know. Why?
Bam.
Oh, there we go. There we go. We got that article up for you guys. Look, there's me again. Hi.
That's how we do it.
This is how we do it.
International Academy President and CEO Bruce L. Paisner said Cuomo is being honored with the Academy's Founders Award for using his briefings to inform and calm the public. as he sent all the grandmas and grandpas to die
In nursing homes.
in nursing homes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is so calming.
This is such a calm.
I'm calmed by this.
I'm calm. I'm totally calm.
Previous recipients include former Vice President Al Gore, Oprah Winfrey, and director Steven Spielberg.
Oh, God.
What?
That's not anything to tote about. I'm sorry.
Well, normally the Emmys are for, like, entertainment.
I was gonna say, isn't it for TV? Isn't Emmys TV stuff?
Yeah.
And yeah, oh my God. Yeah. Well, Steven Spielberg's not anything to tote about. Not gonna lie.
So he gave 111 daily briefings, and they worked so well. And here's why. Okay, this is why he got the Emmy, because he effectively created television shows with characters, plot lines, and stories of success and failure.
Oh.
People around the world tuned in to find out what was going on, and New York tough became a symbol of determination to fight back.
Wow. So they're basically just giving him an Emmy because he dramatized the whole scenario in New York so well.
That's what it sounds like.
Yes, Steve, the Emmys are racist.
And that's why I was saying we now live in, like, we have some strange version of reality that's portrayed via the media, reinforced through the Governor Cuomo giving these daily updates as he's sending the old people to die in the nursing homes.
Yeah, he's just like updating people, but when the cameras are turned off and nobody's paying attention, he's actually doing some shady stuff behind the closed
People
doors.
are watching him because they want to get reassured of what they're hearing over on this channel isn't as bad as it sounds. So they listen to him, and then they're comforted as he tells these stories of characters and story arcs.
Yeah,
Like,
they're just giving him the award to just like, good for you for like letting us know what's going on in the state of New York.
maybe this is a symptom of, like, everyone watches Netflix and Amazon Prime and all that all day, Hulu. Everything is like a TV show to them
It
now.
is, yeah.
Maybe they can't absorb the information unless it's in the format of, like, a TV show drama.
Yes.
Maybe that's something.
This is something that I talked to my roommate about, I think, last night or maybe the night before. I was like, because he was telling me about some drama that he's had with, like, people in his life. And I told him, I was like, does it seem to you that it seems like some of these people who are the most dramatic and who cause the most problems, it's almost like they are convinced that they're in, like, a reality TV show, or that there's cameras on them, and they're just like, there's no repercussions for, like, the stupid stuff that they do. They mess up your house. They do any of this stuff. They get away with it because they've been watching so much reality TV or just so much just fiction that they just wholeheartedly believe that they can do whatever they want and there's not going to be any repercussions because
They're disconnected.
they're just so disconnected. And he was like, you're right. That's kind of what I've noticed with people just everywhere. They think that they've got, like, cameras on them and people are, like, actually giving a crap about them. When it's
That's what happens when we've made society now around social media and your personal image and Instagram, and you're curating your own story as you go,
building your own brand right there.
building your own brand. Everyone's their own brand ambassador now.
Everybody got their own website with their name on it. Everything.
Combine that with the fact that all people do all day is watch Netflix and Hulu. They don't have lives,
Yeah.
So what do you expect? This is the outcome of that. All those conditions.
Yeah, tell me about it, dude. Like, the more I've been watching some of these shows on Netflix and Hulu and all this stuff, I'm like, the more I realize that what's going on. Noah says Spielberg's been receiving money from the government for propaganda since the 80s. I agree. 100%. Dude, so I do have Hulu, and one of the things that they just released on Hulu was, like, did you ever watch the Animaniacs?
Yeah.
So they have redone the Animaniacs and released it on Hulu, and it is like
Is it propaganda?
so propaganda.
Really?
The biggest, like,
That doesn't surprise me at all.
oh my God, like, you know how the opening song for the Animaniacs back when we were kids was, like, it had, like, its own words. They changed it so much. They're talking about, like, gender equality and equal pay and all this crap in the opening song, in the intro song for the anime.
My God.
Dude, I'll have to show it to you because it's so cringe.
Oh man.
And every episode, because you know how in the Animaniacs they have the Animaniac skits, and then they'll have, like, Pinky and the Brain mixed in there, and then do, like, another Animaniac skit.
Right.
Even the Pinky and the
We
Brain
only
stuff.
watched it for Pinky and the Brain. We
The
can all
Pinky and the
admit
Brain
that.
stuff, dude, is even SJW and just total cringe. Like, it's just so bad. Like, oh my god, it was so bad. Like, I've watched like 3 episodes of this new Animaniacs, and it's just, oh my god.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh my god, I'll have to show you some
I
of it.
saw that they were bringing that back, and then I was thinking, like, man,
I liked the old Animaniacs. Like, that's how I learned the States and Capitals, is through the States and Capitals song. Like, I'm a nerd. That's how I remember stuff, is through music.
yes, what do we got going on here? What are we going to get into tonight? We're going to take over the world.
We're gonna take over the world. Let's do it.
Exactly.
But anyway, so not to, like, that's why I was talking crap about Spielberg, because Spielberg is all over the Animaniac stuff. Like, his name is all over, and I just like, now that they have this new season of it, I'm like, oh my god, it's such SJW.
We're really getting into like the Soviet levels of propaganda now.
Really, yeah, like they have these cartoons that are meant for children, but it's for people like us who are adults that'll watch this drivel.
It would be hilarious if they
but then
redid Pinky and the Brain in like the Soviet cartoon style, where it was all stylized.
Right?
That would be hilarious. Somebody needs to dub that in like a Soviet style.
Yeah, I'll have to show you some of this stuff on on the Animaniacs after the stream, because you'll like watch and just go, "Oh my god, what is this? Like, what's going on?"
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, you probably don't, because
All right.
it's so bad.
Back to the Governor Cuomo's
Right?
Emmy.
Sorry to get off on that tangent, folks.
No, it was a great tangent. It was
I mean, it's pretty relevant because
highly
Noah
relevant.
talked about Spielberg, and this article talked about Spielberg, so I was like, ugh, Spielberg.
Cuomo used his more than 100 PowerPoint-driven slideshows and his sometimes emotional, sometimes acerbic style to provide daily updates and detail his administration's effort to shutter the economy and avoid predictions of as many as 100,000 people hospitalized at once. So notice what they're trying to say here. They're saying emotional.
Yeah, they were like trying to like play it out as like he actually cares because he gets emotional at these press briefings and like seems like he cares. But it's like, have y'all ever heard of the term crocodile tears? You know, just fake crying, just fake. That's all I get from Cuomo and from Newsom and all these like Democrat leaders. They're just fake.
Yeah, strangely enough, they don't really go over in this article how many people died in those nursing homes that he sent them into.
Right? They don't talk about any of that stuff because it's not relevant.
It's kind of strange.
They don't want to talk about that. Of course not. Why would they? Why would they talk about all the old people that he sent to death by putting them back in the nursing homes? All right, let's read some of the chat, shall we?
Go through the chat while I pull up the next article here.
Okay. So Life Roll to imagine a Disney's reboot of Tailspin. I don't know if I've watched that.
Never seen it either.
Steve says Great Reset is racist. Says Noah says no cartoons are really made for children. Look at the subtext of Rugrats. No, Noah, I agree with you on that with Rugrats. Like watching Rugrats now as an adult, I was like, holy crap! Like you could just see them like brainwashing people to change.
Well, have you ever watched like Ren and Stimpy
Oh yeah,
or Rocco's Modern Life?
dude! All of these guys, all of these producers of these cartoons, looking at them and like knowing the history, like knowing these guys. If you Google them, a lot of them. They're actually pedophiles and like total freaking weirdo, like losers. Like,
Oh, you're going pedophile on it.
no, they are. Like the guy who created Rick and Morty is like a bona fide pedophile. He's like just total like P word. Let's do like pedophile P word so that way we don't get banned.
Yeah.
We don't want to get banned, but I'm just saying like they are just.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like it's supposed to be for kids, but it's not. Like it's really not.
Whoa! Black hole.
I think Noah said earlier in the chat that he wants to send you some like preset OBS or OSB.
Oh, nice.
So, yes, Noah. So if you have any of those things that could help us production wise, please email us. We'll happily
Hit me up. Yeah, hit my email.
Hit up the email in the channel, and Jeremy will he'll take it under some advisement.
Look at the Gooch with a fantastic point. I want to say this right now. He says, with all due respect, a $5 super chat. Don't you think the more you watch Netflix and Hulu, the more you support them and their propaganda?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes.
Do you follow through with that though? Do you give them any money?
No.
Okay.
I mooch.
You're a leech.
I'm a total leech.
Okay, I don't give them any money either. So yes, I agree with you 100%, Gooch.
I agree with you 100%.
don't
That's
buy
why
that
I leech off of
shit.
other people's stuff. If the other people want to buy it and let me leech off of them,
I don't swear that much on these streams, and I really mean that. Don't buy that shit.
He doesn't. He's good. I'm the bad one
awful.
when it comes to the swearing.
That's the only appropriate word for it.
I've got this filthy, dirty mouth, as he likes to say.
Yeah, you do.
I know I do.
You are the degenerate, though.
I am the young degenerate lesbian. That's me.
The Great Reset. Yeah, well, we should talk about the Great Reset. See, you know what sucks about the Great Reset is I had my own idea for the Great Reset, and then they started talking about the Great Reset with a whole different definition. So we'll talk about that someday. Let's see. Davos Group and World Economic Forum and various world leaders coming out supporting a plan to institute global communism. That's kind of the Great Reset as it's defined right now.
A little bit, yeah. The reset is the new world order use communism to enslave and control the plebes. A little bit. Not gonna lie, Anthony. A little bit. The plebes that won't stand up and fight and like defend their country and defend their family. Yeah.
Ken says we're Americans. We need to come together without cartoons.
I agree, but cartoons definitely make it better.
Everyone else needs to find a gym in your area that's not closing down to the Nazis, and then go there and get jacked and meet all the other people who aren't brainwashed. Because everyone in the gym who's not wearing a mask, they're not brainwashed.
Yeah, they're not some brainwashed libtard.
And then that's how you start communities, because that's what we need to do.
Yeah, we need all that. Noah says on cartoons and the Great Reset in school writing class, they say tell them what you will tell them, then tell them what you told them. What?
And you had a hard time with that.
I know, I'm sorry. I've had a couple drinks. It was just a lot of like thems, and it was just a lot of T's in there. I'm like, wait, what? I'm trying to like read it over here too.
They say, tell them what you will tell them, and then you tell them.
Yes.
And then last, tell them what you told them. So you're triple downing.
Yeah, you're right, Noah. You're not wrong about that, Noah.
That's the cycle.
It just sounded more stupid coming from me. Jeremy just makes everything sound smart. That's what he's here for.
What can I say?
That's why we need you men. We need men like you, because my dumb female brain just doesn't want to allow me to say things properly.
Just let the men lead.
Yeah, let the men lead. He told me this earlier. He's like, you need to let the men lead. I agree.
And inject loads of TRT. Agreed on that too, yes, because we have massive deficiencies in testosterone in this country.
We need more testosterone. We need more of it. It's been lacking in people who naturally produce more, and we need more of it from those guys.
Anthony says the art of war should be studied deeply as well. I think that's a good idea too.
I've talked to people about the art of war, and I'm like, it's not just
I have that book right behind the laptop.
He does. He showed me it, but I've talked to people about the art of war. I'm like, it's not just about like war and violence. It's about just discipline in yourself, really.
Art of war is racist.
So racist.
Speaking of racism.
Yeah.
Racism has now been declared a public health crisis in Sacramento County.
Oh, okay. Total. Not all the people sleeping on the street, but just racism.
I don't know how we haven't been carried away yet. We haven't attended any Black Lives Matter marches. I think that qualifies us as being racist.
Yeah, I mean, I've been called racist just because I won't support Black Lives Matter.
This is there's many cities around the country doing this, so this isn't like just a Sacramento thing. But since I'm in Sacramento, obviously I got the Sacramento version of this article.
We like to talk about local stuff a little bit here.
But from ABC 10, the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors declared racism a public, please go away, health crisis. But activists wonder if it was only symbolic or if real change will come.
It's definitely symbolic. Y'all are really perceptive on that one.
Yeah, the activists are right on the money, right on the nose with that, because purely symbolic. They want you to shut up. They want you to stop burning the city down, smashing windows and marching in the streets and shutting the roads down and all that.
Oh my God.
What did you see? Did you see a good chat?
Dave? Oh no, Steve. He says last time I was in Sacramento, I caught racism. This article is hilarious.
Well,
too.
you are no longer allowed back in, Steve.
Yeah, you're no longer allowed because
Sorry,
don't you know Sacramento's not racist?
Yep. Well, it's a public health crisis.
It's a health crisis, so if it's a health crisis, then we're not.
Until there's a vaccine, you can't come back in.
Yeah, right?
Sorry.
Until there's a vaccine or
Look at what they say. Quote, we're dealing with a pandemic.
Oh.
And the black community and brown communities have been hit hardest.
Oh, totally.
We're now just hearing some resolution of our fault. We now believe you. So they're saying that the city, they were waiting the whole time for somebody else to accept the blame for their conditions, and now they're like, oh yeah, finally, now you say my bad. Now you say my fault.
Now you finally feel bad about ostracizing black and brown people. Like, oh my gosh, this is so sad.
So this is interesting. They say we're dealing with a pandemic, and the black communities and the brown communities have been hit the hardest. Why do you think that is? I think that's a true statement.
I mean, it is definitely true.
But the question is why. So in this article, the activists are trying to insinuate that there's some malicious intent behind that.
Yeah.
But do you think there's a malicious intent?
I know.
Gooch.
The Gooch with the $5 super chat says,
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
out, y'all. Much love and don't hate in your heart. I agree, Gooch, and that's why we love you. Have a good night, buddy.
As long as you were able to attend for 1 minute,
yeah.
I'm fulfilled.
We are fulfilled with just the 1 minute interaction, but we appreciate your super chat.
Have a good weekend, buddy.
Have a good weekend. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, everybody.
So here's the thing. The blacks, statistically speaking, if we're looking just at health statistics, they're more likely to suffer from being overweight, having other effects that are going to have complications with COVID. That's going to make their outcomes worse if they get COVID. They also probably live in more condensed areas. They probably have less access to certain resources like food, stores,
medical.
They have to all. There's probably more concentration of them going to the same spots because of just how big and widespread the neighborhoods are. Things like that. So there are other factors where they're going to have worse outcomes because of that. But they're ignoring all that.
Yeah.
They're saying they're ignoring the fact that they're more obese. They have more diabetes. They have more.
They don't eat right and exercise and take care of themselves.
They're ignoring all of that.
They smoke cigarettes like it's no tomorrow.
Yeah, and they're going straight to racism.
It's all racism. That is just their go-to for this is what's wrong. We know what's wrong, and it's what's really wrong is just personal accountability. But because we don't want to say that, we're just going to say it's racism because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to blame the white man or blame like this power than it is to take personal responsibility.
Yeah, this is the conclusion that the black community and the Black Lives Matter people are going to have a long road to getting to. But this is what they're going to get to eventually, is that to have power, you cannot have power over your own outcomes without also having responsibility. It's going to take them a long time to realize that, or they already do realize that, and they're just choosing to deny that.
Oh, yeah.
And just blame other people.
Yeah, well, that's just
Those are the two possibilities.
what's been taught in their communities for decades now. Decades. It's hard to take that mindset out in just like a short amount of time. It takes generations to take that mindset out. So I think it's starting to happen, but in places like California, Oregon, Washington, where it's easier to just fall into the victim mindset and just have the government, mommy, daddy government come in and take care of you and be supported by the state and be supported by the millions of other people that live in the state. It's easier to give into the mindset of like, oh, I'm the eternal victim because of this.
Like you said, the American Public Health Association notes Sacramento County is one of several places across the country declaring racism a public health crisis.
Okay.
There are no financial costs, but these declarations are seen as the first step in a movement to advance racial equity and justice.
Okay. Well, it's just so, oh my God, whatever.
After a summer of social unrest and calls for police reform following the death of black men in police custody, how many black deaths can you name in police custody that happened this year?
Well, are we talking about like unjust or like
just black deaths?
I don't know, maybe in the last like few months it's been like
the whole year.
I would say it's probably like maybe 10.
I mean, how many can you name?
Oh, I can name only like 3.
Yeah, that's the point. And I bet they would also probably be able to name not much more than that.
Probably not. All they can name is like George Floyd.
But they use this vague language of, following the death of black men in police custody. As if, what does that mean? There's like 10,000 of them died. They were like lined up in a firing squad.
They think that it's 10,000.
They got their towns nuked, or what does that even mean? It's really what it is it's like 3 or 4, because you got the jogger guy, you have George Floyd.
You got Jacob Blake, even though Jacob Blake didn't die.
He didn't die.
Yeah.
You got
Breonna Taylor.
But
she's a woman, so she's a black woman, not a black man.
Yep. So yeah, like, you know, that's not a pandemic.
And there's probably more, but just because of the media coverage, we probably don't know the other ones that have happened.
Well, that was my point. Is you think there's a lot because of the amplification of the media and social media. So there's really only maybe probably 20 or less. And if we're talking unjust, unarmed black men killed by police, it's last year it was what, 12, 13, 14?
Yeah, it was like, I think for black men,
wasn't more than 14.
No, it was, I think for black men, unarmed black men killed by the police, it was like 9.
I'll go with 14. We'll be conservative.
Let's be
because even 14, it's not
that bad.
It's not a lot.
Whereas like I think for white men killed by the police unarmed, it was like 19 or 20, something like that.
Yep.
So it was way more.
But when you bring up that stat, all of a sudden they want to get into arguments of proportionality, which I think is always hilarious, because when you talk about who's committing the crimes, they don't want to talk about proportionality.
Yeah.
But when you talk about who's getting shot, oh, proportionality. But proportionality.
But proportionality.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't care about proportionality. They really don't. Because when they actually like do critically think about proportionality, it's like, yeah. Yes, like it's sad when unarmed black men get killed by police, but considering they're a much smaller segment of the population, and they are committing a far greater amount of the crime, violent crime, not just crime in general, but violent crime. They want to complain about that. It's like, okay, well, that's not something that the police can cure. Like this will happen through like changing the culture, changing the narrative, changing the mindset about like our interactions with the police, but they don't want to do that. It's like that. No, it's racist. It's just, the cops are racist. It's simpler. It's more simple to think that the cops are racist.
Well, Ken asks a very
good question.
It's probably the most important question.
Very important.
It's the most important question, and nobody really has a good answer for it. I don't think anybody has a answer for it. I have an answer for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna like it. That's the problem.
Of course. Yeah. Well,
so,
this is why we're here, Jeremy, to give them our raw, unedited opinions.
Ken asks, "What are we gonna do about it? Complain online?"
Well, yeah, of course. That's the best way to get it done.
So, I haven't refined this answer at all. This is off the cuff, purely off the cuff. But we have to look long term. Okay, what you're looking at long term, and the whole point of actually this entire stream and how fiction becomes reality for some people. There's a filter that everybody's going to go through. You either fall for this baloney or you don't.
Yeah.
It's going to create two separate classes, two separate species, if you will.
Two separate mindsets.
I like to use the word species because it's
the mutants versus the non-mutants.
That's pretty much what it is.
I know you so well.
If you let them go down that path long enough, just like if you were to release a domesticated tiger into the wild.
Oh, they would die. They would get eaten.
They don't have the ability to adapt. They're living in a fake world, a fake reality. They can't live in the real world.
Yeah.
They're going to die out eventually.
Yep.
That whole thing's going to end.
Yep.
It's a long-term thing. I know it's not the answer that anybody wants to hear, because they want to hear, let's get all our guns and let's go to the governor or whatever.
The governor's mansion.
Go to the state capitol and like demand a takeover. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But the actual answer is you have to look at it from a long-term, biological, higher level than nationality. I'm talking about from an actual species, life form, biological perspective. We're creating two separate species here. And all we have to do is adapt and outlive the other species. They're succumbing to natural selection by following all of this garbage.
They are.
The Black Lives Matter stuff, the socialism,
Antifa.
the communism, the Antifa. They're dying out to natural selection. That's what this is.
Yeah, they are.
And all we have to do is wait.
If you're so easily brainwashed, then I'm sorry, that's natural selection right there.
The people who are like Ken, who's clearly, he's tuned in. He knows what's going on.
Yep.
He's probably self-sufficient, like a lot of other viewers who are smart, intelligent,
you're smart,
self-sufficient,
intelligent, and you're also good-looking.
We're all going to survive. We're going to survive regardless of the conditions, because we can adapt. We can see reality and change accordingly based on our own interests. These other people cannot do that. They're not capable of surviving on their own. They're not capable of self-sustaining. They need a constant source of propaganda to feed them. They're ill-adapted to survive in reality.
They need that CNN injection.
So the answer is, I think, and it's
let them
unfortunate,
let them
let them die out.
let
It's
them
natural selection.
let them kill each other.
This is the new version of what natural selection is, because there are no longer any physical natural selections happening.
Yeah.
You don't die out to other tigers who are
Yeah.
stronger than you.
We're not like
It's
dying out
all
to
mental now.
asteroids and meteors and
It's
flash floods
it's
and
all
all that
mental,
stuff.
mental tactics, techniques, everything. It's all about your mindset. And
Project
how,
MK Ultra.
and how you think. Yeah. So that's my answer.
There you go. That's a smart answer, and I agree with you, Jeremy. It's really what they've been doing for decades, but it's just become more and more and more prevalent as you open your eyes and you see what they're trying to do, and they're just getting more and more and more blatant about it. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
More and more and more blatant, but people
when you-
just don't care. They're like, I'm just going to keep feeding the machine.
Well, how could you have come to any other conclusion when you're seeing stories like what we're showing you, where Cuomo is getting an Emmy for his daily, coronavirus updates, where he's creating dramatic stories that are filled with emotion?
He's like making
You fall for that?
You're giving a reward for somebody who's done a crappy freaking job at being a governor of a highly densely populated state and has handled coronavirus poorly in comparison to all the other states around him. And you're giving him a reward. You're rewarding him with a possible Emmy. He got a nomination for just his drivel and his bullcrap and killing people. That's bullcrap.
They're elevating these negative selection traits.
Just because
Just
it fits their agenda.
Just like healthy at any size. Just like
Fat
just
movement.
like encouraging mental illness. Just like all this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all natural selection, just taking its course.
And we'll just let them kill each other off, and we'll just be like living on our own little island.
And you want to know why that's the best answer? Because there is zero maliciousness in my heart when I say that. I'm not saying I want these people to die.
No, you don't want them to die,
I'm
but
not saying go out and kill these people.
No.
I'm not saying go attack them. I'm not
No,
saying we should
you're
take
not
any
saying
action
any of
against
that.
them. That answer is completely concurrent with libertarianism, with anarchism.
Yep.
Completely hands off. I don't want to enact any force
Yeah.
on them.
I don't want
to coerce them.
force them to I don't want to force them to do anything they don't want to do. But
Yeah,
if they want to just participate in this nonsense,
that is I think, unless anyone has a better
Go
answer,
for
I
it.
think that's the only answer that's actually going to get compliant with libertarianism and anarchism.
Ken is right in the chat. He says, "Give these two a thumbs up. They are right on." Yeah, Dave, give us a thumbs up. Everybody, give us a thumbs up.
Thank you, Ken.
Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Hit the bell. You want to.
Smash that like button.
Hit the like
Guys,
button.
we only have 5,000 likes. We need to up that number.
We need to up it. We need to get that up. Share this with your friends too, of course.
Steve says we need to purge. See, that's the other option.
That's the other option.
That's the quick and dirty option.
That was kind of my option. I've kind of predicted something like that, like the purge or something like that in the near future when it comes to California and the West Coast. I've been saying for a little bit that China's just going to invade, and all of these loser liberals who don't know anything.
With a
my God.
What is this? Hold on.
This
Sorry,
terrible site is auto-playing. Silence.
Silence.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, y'all. You got to hear that. If China does invade the West Coast and they take over all these liberal losers that live their perfect little lives here in California, those are going to be the first ones to self-suicide.
Mass suicide.
They're going to do a mass suicide. They're like, oh, because they don't want to be on the people with the gun side, because they're like, oh,
Because they're domesticated
Yeah.
tigers. They can't deal with
yeah,
the wild.
they can't deal with, oh my God,
that's the
here's a
wild.
side. Here's a side that will accept me and protect me, and I just have to accept that they are who they are. And then there's China who's invading, and I don't want to be them either. So I'm just gonna commit suicide. I'm just gonna drown myself. That's what these are gonna do. And then the rest of us are gonna just be here fighting them off or just fleeing.
There we go. Ken says we have to work together. This is America. We ain't killing no one off.
I agree, Ken.
I think I talked Ken off the ledge.
Good, Ken. Yeah, we don't want to
No,
kill nobody either.
No force or coercion is necessary. That's
Yeah.
what people need to understand. You just have to have patience, okay? Time is more powerful than any other force in the universe. And if you can understand that and realize that and have the patience, it's stay on course, be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not possible for people who make such terrible decisions that are ill-fated and ill adapted to reality. it's not possible for them to make it in the end. In the long term, it's just not possible.
No, it's just not. It's not genetically possible.
Steve with the $5 super chat
$5?
says, shocked,
$5 make me holla.
shocked by the sudden loss of Philip Drummond,
What?
father of 3. Sir, you were the best.
What are you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about, Willis?
Steve, we love you for your troll $5 super chats.
The best.
You are the best.
We
appreciate
we're like a AAA troll farm team here. We bring them in and we build them up and then we send them out into the universe.
Exactly. I'm so proud. My little babies.
Right. So now that we know that Sacramento has been racist.
Yeah, we've been
do
racist, but we're trying to do better.
Yeah.
We're not going to be racist anymore.
Let's move on to the next article pertaining to the mass fiction that people are starting to believe these days. This is a good one. This is probably this is my favorite one here.
This is a good one, yeah.
If you guys didn't know, breaking news.
Breaking news, folks.
Yesterday was Transgender Day of Remembrance.
Yeah. In case you're not aware, there is a day of remembrance for the trannies out there.
I can't say it, but you can.
I can. I'm fine with that. I'll take the slack.
If you're on Twitter or any kind of social media, I'm sure you saw all kinds of posts about this.
We're just like, oh my God, I didn't even know who these trannies were, but okay.
So this is from another local news site, but it's just a copy from Elle. They just
yeah, they just copied and pasted.
Syndicated out, basically. But you may have seen this around. The names you should know on Transgender Day of Remembrance. Don't worry, we're not going to go through all the names.
Yeah,
That's not what we're
not
here
going to
for.
read them off for you guys.
We're here for
entertainment.
For what? The narrative. The narrative. Because this is the weekly narrative. And the narrative this week is transgender people are victims. And they're being targeted specifically.
They're targeted like at an exponential rate.
Yep. So let's...
considering they're only like less than 1% of the population?
Yeah.
They're being targeted.
Much less than 1%.
I think it's even, yeah.
From KCRA, it's only November, yet 2020 is the deadliest year on record for the transgender community. Today, November 20th, is Transgender Day of Remembrance. The observance grew out of a vigil for Rita Hester, a member of the Boston LGBT spaghetti community who worked locally on education around trans issues and nurtured many of the city's spaghetti youth.
The spaghetti youth? I love it.
I'm just going to say spaghetti.
I love it.
I'm not going to say LB.
No, just say spaghetti. I love that. I think I might adopt that.
She was killed in her home on November 28, 1998, a few days shy of her 35th birthday.
Okay.
22 years later, her murder has not yet been solved.
Well, of course it hasn't been solved. They probably don't really know much about what happened to her.
This year, at least 34 transgender or gender nonconforming people have been murdered by violent means in the United States.
Oh.
This number is likely higher. Victims are, to this day, often misgendered in local police statements and media reports, which can delay awareness of deadly incidents. The majority of these victims, like Hester, were black transgender women living at the intersection of racism, homophobia, and transphobia.
At the intersection, it's because just being transgendered, you're just you get that intersection of just hate.
That's a lot of roads coming together there.
Yeah, a lot of roads coming together for just hatred towards you, just you specifically.
The lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and HIV-affected hate violence report. Jesus
Christ! Yes, I was reading that. I was like, really?
I almost ran out of breath. From the National Coalition of Anti-Violence Programs, shows that in 2016, which was the last year this report was published, 79% of spaghetti people murdered were people of color, 68% were transgender or gender nonconforming, and 61% were transgender women of color.
Okay.
Look at those numbers.
That doesn't seem right.
So you remember last week we talked about that article where it was the murder, a shooting of the nightclub.
Yes.
But they didn't talk about any of the
they
suspects.
didn't give any of the finer details because the guys who did the shooting were black.
You have to frame your mind when you read this article in the same frame as reading that article.
Yeah.
Because you have to be looking for the dog that isn't barking with this stuff. So the dog that is barking is behind our camera. You can't see it, but look at these statistics right here. 79% of spaghetti people murdered were people of color. 79%.
79%.
And 61% were transgender women of
Yeah.
color. So
Specifically trannies
biological black males who thought they were women.
were murdered.
Is there, I mean, there's no questioning in this whole article about, or the whole narrative, the whole community about why that is. Why are there so many? Oh my God. Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
These
y'all.
autoplays are killing me. There's no questioning about why so many are these murders are black males, biological males,
Black biological males
and
killed by probably
and-
other black biological
well,
males.
that's what I was going to bring up. That's the dog that isn't barking. Because if you look into any of this stuff, if you've done any research on these transgender violence, transgender deaths, transgender murders, the epidemic, I did this last year because last year it was the same thing. Every year they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like last year, I think it was, if I remember correctly, 26 transgender people were murdered, and then the year before that it was like 23 or something like that, 32, somewhere in there.
It's like not even in the hundreds.
It's never more than 40-ish.
Yeah.
And they're almost always all black. And they never show you who the perpetrators are
They never show you who did the crime.
for a very specific reason. Because once you start to look into these, it becomes very clear what's
going
actually
on.
happening. And that's the thing they don't talk about in these articles. When they talk about Transgender Day of Remembrance, they play the whole thing, and this is why the stream's called Fiction Becomes Reality, because they play this whole thing as if there's this overarching anti-transgender sentiment in the United States, and that everyone's just hunting transgender people.
Yeah, we're hunting them down.
That's what they
'cause we
want.
hate them
They
so
want
much.
you to believe that they're being hunted. But in reality, what's happening is a lot of these transgender guys
Are getting
women,
whatever they are. They're getting
are-
themselves into these bad predicaments.
Yes, they're
They're sex workers.
sex workers,
Or
they're
they
on
are
drugs.
they are in they're in bad neighborhoods at the wrong time.
Yes.
So
So I did a little bit of research, and this holiday, if you want to call it that, Transgender Day of
it's
Remembrance,
not a very nice holiday.
for Rita Hester. Okay, so Rita Hester was killed after bringing two guys home from a club.
Okay.
So that kind of gives you should give you a little
Yeah, that should give you a little hint about what might have happened.
hint about what's happening. There was no signs of struggle. There was no signs of breaking in. She brought people into her apartment.
Yeah,
And
they probably figured out pretty quickly that she wasn't a girl.
exactly.
Not to say like that's no reason to kill anybody or hurt anybody.
It doesn't justify it.
Doesn't justify it, but when you start, because a lot of crime that happens, it happens like really quickly and really fast, and it's like a split second decision. And so I can imagine like this presenting somewhat female person goes to the club, brings back two dudes, and these two dudes are thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get with this chick. And then once they get this chick naked, or they start to notice some things, or like it's some weird stuff going on, yeah, they're gonna get upset and be like, this was not what I signed up for.
Funny you mention that, because you have logical, rational mind. So
Somewhat.
you're able to see.
I do have a girl brain,
You're
so.
able to see these scenarios in your head and kind of deduce.
Yeah.
What may or may not have happened.
Yeah.
I gave you some basic
And
evidence.
I'm not gonna like sit there and like justify crime happening, but I will come to understanding why some crimes happen.
Yeah, no, we're not. Nobody's justifying anything.
Nobody
here.
justifies anything.
But
you got to understand some things in life.
I was digging into this because I wanted to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to
what's
know.
the
Because the
deal?
people who are telling you this stuff, they don't tell you. You have to actually seek it out and dig it. If you want the truth, you have to try and dig with a huge backhoe, just shoveling out heaps of dirt. And I came to this. You probably never heard of this. Nobody in chat's ever heard of this.
Probably not.
But this is a real thing. And you won't know until you dig.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the LGBTQ panic defense?
No, I haven't been briefed on this yet.
Have you heard of the LGBTQ panic at all?
No, I haven't been briefed on this. But then again, I'm not very in on the LGBTQ RX LMNOP.
What kind of lesbian are you?
I know, I'm a terrible lesbian. I don't fall in line, sorry.
Weak.
I know, super weak.
From lgbtbar.org.
Oh, okay, bar.
This is the LGBTQ plus panic defense.
Oh my god.
This is what most of these cases come down to.
Oh my god, really?
So when you said that it was probably this prostitute or some kind of sex worker bringing guys home, and then they get surprised that she's not a she.
Yeah, not a full she.
They go all out on her, and that's how a lot of these people die. Well, now you know that there's something called the LGBTQ plus panic defense. What is this
Let's look it
spaghetti term?
The spaghetti term.
The LGBT, anytime there's an acronym that long, I'm just going to say spaghetti.
Let's do it.
It's not exclusive to LGBT.
Let's make it a thing.
The panic defense strategy is a legal strategy that asks a jury to find that a victim's sexual orientation or gender identity / expression is to blame for a defendant's violent reaction, including murder.
What?
So this is actually from a bar, like an attorney for LGBT issues site. This is this is a site that documents legal defenses in these cases. So when all these murders go to court, that you see in the article, you have you have the defendant, he gives a defense, then you have obviously the prosecutor's going to try and get the guy out. This is what they give as a defense. So this is what they see over and over and over, which will give you a clue as to why all these are happening. Because again, the article and none of these people that are pushing this narrative give you any details as to why it's happening. They just leave it vague enough so that you think there's some kind of murderous, rampaging, anti-transgender sentiment in America. So we have 3 different types of this LGBT panic defense.
Oh my God.
We have the defense of insanity.
Oh my God, really?
Or diminished capacity. This is where the defendant alleges that a sexual proposition by the victim, due to their sexual orientation or gender identity, triggered a nervous breakdown in the defendant, causing LGBTQ plus panic. So it's like, hey, surprise!
Surprise! I'm not a dude.
Yep.
Or I'm not a chick.
And then you have the defense of provocation, which is the defense. The defendant argues the victim's proposition, so that the victim propositions them, sometimes termed a nonviolent sexual advance.
Non-violent sexual. Who wants a violent sexual advance?
Was sufficiently, quote, provocative to induce the defendant to kill the victim.
What?
So if this is like, I don't know exactly what this means, but I think it's if you know a guy is not interested in other guys, but you're a transgender female, and then you proposition him, well, knowing that he knows you're a transgender female, it's like provocative.
Oh, okay.
And this is the LGBT bar's definition, guys. So I'm not making this up.
This is the spaghetti people making this shit up.
You can go to lgbtbar.org and see for yourself.
You can look up the spaghetti people and their tactics.
Yep. And the third case is the defense of self-defense, where the defendants claim they believe that the victim, because of their sexual orientation or gender identity / expression, was about to cause the defendant serious bodily harm. This defense is offensive and harmful because it argues that a person's gender or sexual identity makes them more of a threat to their safety. So
sometimes,
you think someone's a female, and then you suddenly realize they're male.
That is a threat to your safety.
They
could beat the shit out of you.
Suddenly, they're a lot stronger, bigger than you thought they were.
They got muscles and they sound like this.
Well, they maybe I'm not saying they sound like that, but when you realize they're actually male, there's biological implications that they are stronger. And they might be able to cause harm to you.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, and this, I think of another one. It's just embarrassing. Like.
Well, there's that too.
But they don't want to list that. They don't want to list that. It's embarrassing.
No, that's the first one. That's
the
insanity.
Insanity or diminished capacity is that it's That's basically saying embarrassment.
Yep.
Okay.
So what you guys have to ask yourself, and what we're here to point out to you, is why all these people pushing the anti-transgender narrative and the Transgender Day of Remembrance, why nobody talks about any of these things that you just heard. Nobody's ever heard of this LGBTQ defense in chat. Okay? But it's there, and that's what everybody uses when they're defending themselves against murdering a transgender person. So you have to ask yourself why that is.
Absolutely.
That's all we're saying.
There's always a why. Always question everything, you guys.
Yeah, because again, when people are leaving things so wide open and vague for you to try and assume that there's, again, some kind of crazy national anti-transgender narrative or like assault happening, you have to question and you have to understand that the dog that isn't barking. Okay, what are the details? Look at the details. Who's doing the murders? Mostly black people. Who's getting murdered? Mostly black transgender women. And that's in line with the statistics for murder. When you look at the murder statistics, it's always the group who's killing the same group. White people murder mostly white people. Black people murder mostly black people. We all acknowledge that.
And yeah, they don't want to deny that. They definitely they tote that. They're like, yeah, of course black people are getting murdered by other black people.
Exactly. That's the point that they use as the counter argument, but that works against them in this situation.
Yeah, and then I counter that and I say, yeah, of course black people are killing other black people, but at the rate that they're doing it, it's totally disproportionate to white people. Because white people are way more people. Of course they're going to...
Well, that too, but...
Of course white people are going to commit more murders and, like, violent crime, but considering that it's really, like, a tiny, minute amount of the population are committing, like, over half of the violent crimes. Like, that's a bigger argument, in my opinion. Like, that's a big problem. It's a big problem.
It's true.
It's a big, yeah.
What's up, Josiah? Welcome to the chat. Josiah comes in hot with a nice point. He says, if articles never mention race or never mention their political party, such as when talking about politicians, then we can safely assume that they're black or Democrats.
You're right, Josiah. We've proven that a couple times with a couple different articles we've looked at, where there's drive-by shootings or there's a mass shooting at a club or a bar, and they don't mention anything about race. But then once you look up the names in the article, you're like, oh, couple black dudes. Surprise! Of course they're not gonna mention the race of those guys in this article. They're just gonna say their names, and then it's up to you to look up their pictures.
David says because they're raised by single mothers and have no fathers in the home. What percentage of those transgender people do you think had no fathers?
Almost all of them.
Because again, I think it was 61% transgender females. So that means biological males thinking they're females.
Yeah, and the reason they probably are transgenders is because they don't have fathers.
I would say nearly 0% of them have fathers.
I would say probably all of them have zero fathers in their life and zero masculine energy in their day-to-day household.
On point, David. On point.
What did David say? Oh yeah, with the single mother household.
Yep,
yeah, you're not wrong. Like it's not even with the trannies in the black community. It's with just the regular men too. Like that's why the men are very, very angry as well. Just a very effeminate kind of quality going on in certain communities.
Steve's got a great point too. He actually has a non-trolling comment. He says the media makes it impossible for there to be any unity. That's exactly what these articles are designed to do.
Yeah, they don't want you to be unified.
And then the second order effects of these articles coming out and the whole transgender days and all that kind of stuff is that if you don't support them,
you don't love trans people.
That means you hate them.
Yeah, you hate trans people.
If you question anything about that article, like we just did, that means you hate them.
You hate the trannies.
Yep.
I definitely hate the trannies.
So furthering the discord and the disunity.
I definitely hate the trannies because I don't know the 38 people that have died in 2020.
Yep.
38 transgender people out of the how many thousands?
Well, he also says isn't the leading cause of death for trans suicide.
Yeah, it is. Also is even post-operative transgenders are more likely to commit suicide. So that's what baffles me about when people argue about transgender rights that aren't transgender. I'm like, what are you arguing about? Like, why are you saying like we need to give transgenders operations to transition them fully so that way they don't kill themselves? When the evidence shows that even if they do go through surgery, they do hormone replacement, they do surgery, they still have a propensity to commit suicide. And that's not something that like surgery or anything can fix. That's something that they have to get over themselves.
Again, that's another thing that they don't talk about is the propensity for mental illness in these people as well.
Well, I mean, being transgendered is technically a mental illness anyways.
Yeah, but we can't talk about that.
Well, yeah, of course not. We'll get banned. We'll get banned for talking about transgender issues even though we're not trans. Even though transgender issues still affect people like me and you who are like, we accept our biological roles as male and females. And when the trannies come in and we're like, no, men can be women and women can be men.
They're just trying to make everything subjective.
They just want to make it so much more complicated. And it's like, no, you're either man or a woman. Like, even if you are a tranny, you still started off as one and you transitioned to the other, but you still started off as one. Like, that's why I vibe more with the trannies that accept the natural biology of people.
Listen to this. Life for Toll has a good point here. He says the point is to inject taboo cultures into the greater populace to destroy the whole of society and not to protect the spaghetti community.
Yep, you're right.
Well, that's the thing. They
don't care about protecting us.
Nobody cares about black people or the transgender people. Like, you think Biden is gonna bow down to the Black Lives Matter demands? You think he's going to bow down to all these minorities who are like, hey, you better do this because we helped you out in the election?
He might.
No, he's not.
He won't, though.
He's going to throw him right under the bus.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they don't care about these people at all.
Remember a couple streams ago when we read the letter from the Black Lives Matter leader,
Yeah.
and she was just basically like blackmailing
Yeah.
the Biden campaign, saying like, "Look at what we've done for you, so now you have to do something for us."
Yep.
That's the kind of emotional manipulation that they're used to, and yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Biden just said and did whatever he could to get.
No, that's actually, he brings up, this is the point that I wanted to make about all this stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Is that these people are literally, they're just like disposable wrenches.
Yeah.
For the larger political powers.
They are.
They take these transgender people, they grab them out of the toolbox, they use them once, they're like, look at this article right here, look, this guy died, and then they just toss them out. And they don't understand that they're just being used for someone else's political power.
They don't see it. They think that
They can't see the big picture.
They don't think that they're being used because they're so brainwashed. And then people like me and you are just people who kind of see what's going on. We're like, hey, you're kind of, you seem like you're not really thinking for yourself.
A lot of them are brainwashed, but I'll give some grace to a lot of them as they don't have the intelligence to understand the complexity of what's actually happening. They're just low information voters who go on social media and they see stories. They're not really involved in politics. They don't look into stuff.
You're not wrong, Jeremy.
But you're also right. A lot of them are just straight up brainwashed.
They are brainwashed, but a lot of them are like low IQ. But you know what's sad? Some of them, like people who technically should be like low IQ voters, are some of the more smart people that I know. Like my maintenance guy from my apartment complex. Looking at him, you would not assume that he's like a Trumper, but he's like a black dude, older black dude. Didn't go to college. He's just a handyman. Works his way through life, and he's like, I love Trump. He's like, of course I'm voting for Trump in 2020. I'm like, hell yeah, man.
I'm constantly surprised by.
I know. I'm always surprised by people like that who you wouldn't assume like they're low IQ. Like you try to talk about politics with them, and they're just total idiots. But then you actually meet people like that, and you're just like, okay, I have hope. See, that's the difference between me and you. I got that little shred of hope in my life. But I know you've got it in there, but you just hide it.
Well, I told you, we just have to outlast them.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I don't need hope. I have a system that works.
You're a survivalist. Yeah, you and your systems.
Hope. Why do I need hope?
I don't need hope.
I
have a system in place that'll protect me for. Yeah, I don't.
Hope is just an emotion. I have an actual strategy.
Yeah, because you're a logical man. How dare you?
No, that's exactly
with your big logical brain.
That's how it should be. You have the emotion, and I have the system.
Yeah,
perfect dichotomy here.
Noah says, "Okay, Jeremy, Timcast, whatever your last name is." It's probably
what did I do to earn that title?
Right, exactly.
I'm not as milquetoast as he is.
Yeah, Timcast.
Tim can't drop a theory on you like the evolutionary. How to win the battle and just outlast him in the natural selection and stuff like that. He can't drop something of that caliber on you guys. Come on now. Let's be honest.
He'll get banned.
Let's be honest. No, it's not that. It's just he's not a thinker. He's a journalist. He's an actual journalist.
Yeah, he's a real journalist.
Journalists aren't actually thinkers.
Mm-hmm. They just read
I wouldn't call myself a journalist. I'm more of a thinker. So
we're thinkers. We try to have some kind of thought.
How can we? So we talked about the racism. Going back to that, and we wanted to
the public health crisis in Sacramento County.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that actually we may have a fix. We think we fixed racism.
Yeah, totally.
We just want to give you guys a quick update on that.
Yeah. Hold on, y'all. Multi-million-dollar setup here, y'all.
Yeah. So if you guys are seeing this right here. This is a picture of racism that's been solved.
Racism is solved by taking Aunt Jemima off of the label.
That?
Do you feel less racist now because Aunt Jemima, the face, isn't there anymore? Look at that.
There.
It's not there. So it's less racist, right? There's no black woman like staring into your soul and making you want to buy the product. So it's less racist, right?
You don't feel any white guilt as you scan the shelves for
Aunt Jemima, even though it's still Aunt Jemima.
Yep.
Like it's still Aunt Jemima, but because there's no black lady on the logo.
Yep.
It's less racist.
Yep. And that's my my troll Twitter account. If you guys want to follow that, I do a lot of great trash talking on that account.
He's a pretty good trash talker.
Just wanted to give you an update on that. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
So that's how we solve racism, is by taking black people off of logos.
I'm just saying, Sacramento declares it as, you know, a
public health crisis.
and then Aunt Jemima's not on the bottle anymore.
It's too coincidental.
That is amazing progress.
Look at how much progress we've made.
Let's give him a golf clap for that. Golf clap. Yep. I think we've solved it.
Or like a round of applause.
We're good to go, guys. We're good to go.
Get the crowds roaring. Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Racism
So
solved.
exactly, racism solved because Aunt Jemima was no longer on the logo. How great is that, y'all? And then we got another one here.
Speaking of races, if it was not something we get to talk about enough.
Yeah, because that's a hot topic. If we want to get banned from YouTube, let's just talk about it.
This is a super credible website called Reason.com.
Reason.com.
Nothing reasonable ever comes out of this site. From Washington State. Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard this? This is incredible. I love this one. School district decides Asians aren't students of color.
Totally.
Robbie Suave. I call him Robbie Suave because
Robbie Suave.
From Reason reports that one school district in Washington State has evidently decided that Asians no longer qualify as persons of color.
Oh, cool.
In their latest equity report, which is definitely something that school districts should be reporting, administrators at North Thurston Public Schools, which oversees some 16,000 students, lumped Asians in with whites and measured their academic achievements against students of color.
Oh.
Quote unquote. A category that includes Black, Latin. I'm just going to say Latin because I'm not going to say the
Don't
X.
say Latinx. That's stupid.
That's so dumb.
It's just
Native American, Pacific
low
Islander,
IQ.
and multiracial students who have experienced, quote, persistent opportunity gaps.
What? Yeah, persistent opportunity gaps of being Black, Latin, or Native, or Pacific Islander, or multiracial. You're definitely lacking in what did they phrase it as?
Opportunity gaps.
Opportunity gap.
Isn't that racist in and of itself to just assume that if you're Black, Native American, Latin, that you have a gap?
Yeah, you're gapped.
I can tell you have a gap just because you're Black.
Yeah.
It's okay. I know you had a gap. We can work through it.
We can work through it.
Yeah, well, it's...
We know how we're gonna work through it. We're gonna make the Asians...
I was rich.
We're not gonna make the Asians people of color, so that way they're raising the people of color category up. We're gonna make them compete. We're gonna put them in with the white people.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I never looked at it like that. If you
So
lump the Asians in with the other people of color,
the Asians
they would raise the average a lot.
They would raise the average, but because we want Black people to stand on their own 2 feet and not depend on anybody else, we're gonna make the Asians white. So there's a solution. Gonna make the Asians and the white people do the best, and we know how well they're gonna perform just by having Asian or white, and then the Black, the Latinx, and all the other subgroups. You're gonna have your own category because we know you're gonna perform less, and so we're gonna make it less racist. Less racist.
Oh my
We're not gonna include Asians and the people of color.
Asians getting a hit for their success.
I know.
Is this the first time we've seen it?
No, it has no.
No, it's not. We've seen them getting discriminated against in college admissions.
Because
when
Harvard.
Asians compete against Blacks for college admissions, they score higher on the SATs, entrance exams, and
they get in.
That means they're more likely to get in. So they had to correct that. And
by lowering the standards for Black people, but keeping Asians at a higher standard.
Different standards for different races.
We're going to lower the standard for Black people, so the Black people who are not doing as well, but because they're Black and they want to go to Harvard, but they didn't score as well in the SATs, they didn't do as well in the entrance exams, whatever it may be, we're going to let them go, and then the Asians have to score better, because fair, that's fair.
Yeah, remind me, what's that called again when we hold different races to different standards?
Isn't that segregation or just racism?
Oh yeah, no, I think that's right. Actually, I think that is racism.
I mean, I think that's a little racist, at least to me.
That fits my definition of racism.
That's kind of a definition of racism. It's you believe one race is superior to another, so you will either lower your standards or raise your standards according to what your race is, and that's a little racist, don't you think? I think it is.
So, admittedly, Reason.com is clearly a little.
It's a little left leaning.
No.
No,
It's right leaning.
It is right leaning.
Libertarian. It's a libertarian.
Oh,
outlet.
it is.
Yeah, so it's a little. Well, people will call that right leaning because they have no brain cells. But it continues on from Reason.com. It says now Asians are now white.
Asians are now white.
Don't believe me? A recent MSNBC News headline announced a, quote, plunge in minority university enrollment at the University of California, with UC Berkeley reporting that, quote, minority admissions had declined 61%. Additionally, the total percentage of racial minority students at Berkeley, Asians included, fell from 57 to 49%. If you exclude the burgeoning group of people who declined to state their race, the minority percentage fell only 3 percentage points from 61 to 58. The drop was exclusively among blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians. Asians, who make up less than 10% of the California population, apparently aren't a quote-unquote minority.
Asians only make up 10% of the California population? That does not seem right.
No, well, it's because they're disproportionately intelligent.
That does not seem right, because I've lived in California my whole life, and there is a lot of Asian people in California. I don't think 10% is correct.
California's big.
It is true.
So don't
That's
let
true, but then again, it's like 10%. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
Former Chief Justice Rose Byrd wrote a commentary saying that without race preferences, the UC system would be nothing more than a group of elitist, lily white institutions.
No, yeah, because that's not racist.
Did you know? Well, you remember? I think we talked about it. That was what. One of the propositions that was on the ballot here in California was to allow basically racism in hiring and preferences for affirmative action.
I think that was Prop 16?
16, I think.
I think it was 16.
So the system that they created for that proposition was based off of the UC's classification, in which Asians are not with like blacks and all the other races. So the UC is actually probably one of the biggest impetuses for creating this system.
Yeah.
It's coming from them.
Well, yeah, and we all know who runs the UC systems. Bunch of damn commies.
Well, yeah, we all see the people who, I mean, we all know the reality. The reality is that Asians are, on average, they have probably superior culture. I don't feel, bad saying that at all.
They don't. Yeah, they don't feel bad because they do. Like, they're about family, education,
They're
community.
probably more intelligent.
Yeah, for the most part.
Even than me.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like I'm a supremacist or anything.
But yeah, they're very
If they're
smart.
smarter than me, then I'm not. How can I be a supremacist?
Yeah, how can you be supremacist when you acknowledge that other people are smarter than you?
So you have to separate them. This isn't about any opportunity or lack of opportunity or opportunity gaps. It's about who's performing well, who's not performing well, and how can we, it's communism and socialism in a nutshell. Because when you have high performers, you have someone that's performing up here, and you have someone that's performing down here. The only way to equal that out is to smash down the person who's performing highly. You can't raise this guy up.
We gotta
smash down.
We gotta smash down the people that are actually achieving success and doing good.
You have to crush the success.
You have to crush those folk. But the thing is, when the people who are succeeding get crushed, they end up succeeding better and more often because they I feel like they're more adaptable to what's it called? When things get in their way, they are able to adapt and overcome a lot easier because they're just more geared towards
back to my strategy that I was talking about.
That's why they're more superior to us. They're white now, I guess.
I wouldn't go that far.
I guess that's what white is.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd definitely say they're probably more intelligent on a whole, but
they are. They're more adaptable in certain senses.
I'm sure there's some juicy comments in chat because
right?
we're talking about race now.
I know we're talking about Asians and how Asians aren't white anymore.
All right.
Let's check this out.
Johan Diaz says, fixing racism with more racism. Genius.
Agreed.
Exactly.
That's why we're talking about this, Johan.
When does the dam break? Good question, Anthony. I don't know.
I don't know. When it just gets to be too much. And I mean, the dam is getting so full now at this point that they're just building more dam on top of the already existing dam to just try to prevent the dam from breaking. So
another comment says, fighting racism with racism.
Yep.
Z-Rune says it's social justice.
Social justice.
Right.
That
justice.
quotable, that quote unquote word. Social justice.
Justice doesn't need a prefix.
You're right. It does not.
Justice is justice.
Everybody gets a trophy. Everyone goes to Harvard.
Good comment, Joe. It's good point. Yep.
Joe Upton with the everybody.
That's what they want.
That's really what they want.
They want everyone to go to Harvard. But what does that do to Harvard?
Makes Harvard come down here.
Who cares? You went to Harvard. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's what it
If
does.
they let everybody go to Harvard or Oxford or all the Ivy Leagues or all of the best schools, if they let anybody and just anybody go to the best schools, that lowers the standards for the best. And you don't want to lower the standards for the best. You don't want to be you don't want drivel to be equal to people that are superior. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
it lowers the standard.
Nope. Yep.
It lowers the curve, y'all. We don't want that.
Nope. We need to plunge forward into the future with tenacity
I
and not
don't-
be held back by egalitarianism.
I don't want to be equal to these Antifa losers that just don't have lives.
We earned Ken's approval.
Yes.
He says you two are okay. Glad I found you.
We're glad you found us too,
Well,
Ken.
make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell, Ken, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're probably never going to see us again. Because
Yeah.
obviously you know what we talk about. We're not going to get.
We're not going to get promoted by YouTube.
Yeah.
They don't want us to talk about what we're talking about. Talking about racism against Asians. How dare we? How dare we talk about racism against Asians?
Addicted says they have no diversity. That's why they succeed. I think he's referring to Asians. They don't really have that much diversity, though. They have a monoculture.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. When their culture is superior, they all have their culture is focused on discipline, family, education, and succeeding and becoming,
And-
adept at whatever you choose to do.
Adaptability, yeah.
It's
for
not.
sure.
There really isn't much diversity.
Yeah, there
in that.
isn't. Yeah.
It is a monoculture.
There is like
but it's a better version of like African American monoculture.
there is diversity in like skin color, I would say, because a Chinese person does not have the same skin color as like a person from like Taiwan. They don't look the same. They don't sound.
Well, that's true.
But there's diversity in that. But their diversity of thought, they have like the same kind of base. Like
You went physical. I'm talking about cultural.
yeah, culturally, yes. There's not a lot of difference culturally, but physically, yes, there's differences. But we don't want to talk about cultural similarities. We only want to talk about physical differences and those things because that's what we really need to talk about, racism. But we don't want to. Yeah, I was gonna say if we want to talk about racism in the like Asian culture, but like most Asians I know are more racist than white people. Like,
Oh yeah, they're super racist.
they're super racist. But that's just what they do.
Leftist / Democrat Party, the institution of racism, are now the arbiter of correcting their wrongs by teaching their base to be racist.
They kind of are. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Life roll toll. They were the ones that started the KKK. So now to kind of make up for the fact that they started the KKK, they are now the advocates for the black and the browns and the Asian.
Double down.
They double down because
double down.
they know their history. They know they started the KKK. They know they're the ones that led the Jim Crow laws in the South. And to make up for it, because my dad asked me this, he's like, because I've told him about like the Democrats starting the KKK and the Jim Crow laws and all that stuff. And he's like, why do people still vote for Democrats if they know the history? And he's like, that's the thing, Dad. They don't know history. And also too, they've been infiltrated the education system to change history and make people forget about all that.
Bingo. If I were to identify the single biggest problem in America right now, education system.
Yes, the education system and just the education and then the family systems like at home, because like if you can have the best school that spends the most money per student, but if the parents at home aren't doing the work with the students and like not making sure their kids are doing their homework and staying up to date on their stuff, it doesn't matter.
It's funny because the arguments that the socialists and the communists will always make is that well school choice means that certain schools are going to have this much funding and other schools aren't going to have the funding, and
No.
it's all about their premise is it's all about funding.
No, it's not about funding.
And if you look at like Chicago inner cities where they spend, I looked this up one time, I was
It's
digging
like tens
into
of
this.
thousands per student per
It's
year.
like 15,000 per student, and then you compare that to like Utah, where it's like 4,000 per student. Compare the outcomes.
Utah is doing much better educationally.
Utah's stomping those kids
Because they have good teachers
It's
and,
not
and their
about
parent
funding.
and their parents care about their education
It's not
too.
about funding.
It's not about funding.
No,
It's not about resources. It's not about the amount of money you spend on these resources. It's about how you use the resources.
yeah.
It's not about how much money you spend on the resources.
Well,
California,
the Chicago schools are pumping these kids full of propaganda.
and they come out to be Black Lives Matter rioters. So
Yeah.
that's what ends up happening. Or like California, for instance. California per student, we spend more than any other state But our education, like we are like at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to education. Like
Yeah. No, that's what
young men are not graduating high school from California with like just basic reading and arithmetic skills.
well, and from a global perspective, which is what really matters, the United States as a whole is trash
It's total trash, yeah.
in education. So
If you look at China, their education system is like spot on, but they're also communists.
you can only really persist at that level for a very limited amount of time, where all these other countries are outcompeting you with their education. What's going to happen long term? Just extrapolate the
They're
long
just
term
going to get
implications.
better and stronger than us.
The long term implications of having a shitty public education system that teaches you that
Is
your
that
own
we get outperformed.
that teaches you their country, that your own country that you live in
Hates you.
is terrible and hates you. Not only are you not learning mathematics to succeed in like engineering and innovate and do what America does best, is what innovates and create new products and go to the moon, go to Mars. Like, come on, let's go to Mars. But no, we're too busy crying about Black Lives Matter and Transgender Day of Remembrance. Jesus Christ.
We're too worried about like what pronouns are in our biographies on Instagram.
Yeah, and then you see like at the MAGA march, DC, you have these journalists, quote unquote journalists, where these like that black chick who was videotaped punching the guy. She went to school for journalism. She's getting a journalism degree. Oh, that's definitely
That's totally what journalists do.
Exactly what you teach in journalism
Yeah,
school these days, is to find out the guy that you disagree with and then punch him.
Yeah, that's totally what journalists have been doing for
journalism.
decades.
That's our school system at work right there.
That's our
ladies and
school
gentlemen.
system brainwashing the libtards to go out there and punch Nazis, because if the German people knew what they knew about Hitler before they elected Hitler, they would totally punch him in the face and stop him. So this is a preventative measure, you guys. What the leftists are doing to us, it's a preventative measure to prevent things from getting worse than they already are.
Exactly. You should be thankful.
We should be thankful for the leftists for burning down the cities and murdering people, because if it wasn't for them, like letting us know that like you think it's bad now, it could get worse.
I didn't realize we were fighting actual Nazis, literal Hitler. I didn't realize.
I didn't know it either, but according to them, that's what I've heard. That's what the 411 is about what they're fighting for. They're fighting literal Hitler.
Life Road Toll says, tap that like button. Do it.
Tap the like.
Comply.
Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification
That's the one thing
bell.
that I will coerce you and impose force upon you to do, is to hit the like button.
Always hit the like button. I mean, you could hit the dislike button. We'll take it. We love criticism.
No, if I didn't earn your like, then hit the dislike. This is capitalism right here, guys. Okay, so you can downvote me if you want.
Yeah, we are pro-capitalist here. So if there's something that you don't like that we've done, hit the thumbs down button and like give us a comment like, hey, you guys suck, do this or do this or do this. Or if you have things that might help us do better, email us and let us know what's up.
Miles,
what does Miles say?
he says, what's up?
What's up, Miles?
Just letting everyone know we entered the chat.
Miles is here.
What's going on, man?
Miles. Miles, you are here for us. Miles.
Yeah, a degree in journalism nowadays is basically a degree in leftism.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right, buddy.
Live long and prosper, Steve.
All right, here we go. So Ken says, I'll ask again, what's your end plan? I'm old. I'm going to die soon, but you kids need to retake control.
Well,
and then Joe follows up. He says, our plan is stand back and watch them kill each other. They don't have survival skills. All we have to do is stop helping. I would largely agree with that.
I would largely agree with that too.
I'll expand on that a little bit. Did you want to add a comment on that?
You can go ahead.
My expansion on Joe's comment, which I think is on point. Good job, Joe. That's why you're here, buddy, because you're solid.
Yeah, you're smart and good looking.
We need to reform communities. The success of all of their strategies depends on people not being in communities. It depends on individuals being atomized, meaning you don't have a family, you don't have a father and mother, you don't have an extended family.
Yeah, you don't have grandparents.
You don't have a multi-generational family. You don't have a community around you of people that agree with you.
You don't have church or any of that shit.
A church, a small,
whatever it may be.
A small village, a town, or whatever it is.
You don't have a community.
You don't have a community. We need to fall back, reform the communities, strengthen ourselves around the values. As we let everyone else die out, to their own natural selection.
Let them self-suicide.
Their own natural selection, suicide, all that stuff. That's it. Yep. So my only expansion on what Joe said is just we need to reform communities and solidify communities, because everything trending in society is trying to break you up.
It's true.
Break you up from your multi-generational family, break you up from your father and mother, break you up from your kids, everything, all the way down. Basically get you to where you're just an individual in a matrix pod hooked up to the jelly.
Yep. Dave says, so become Amish. Got it. You're right, Dave.
Dude,
Dave,
they're killing it.
Dave, the Amish are killing it. They are so killing it.
Amish with internet. That's what I want.
I know, but you can't be Amish with internet.
Well, I think we can do it.
You would find a way to do it. You'd be like, look, I want to be Amish. I don't want to have to worry about any of this stuff, but please, can I have electricity? Please.
You can have internet, but you have to shame the people. You have to also bring back shame because shame is social regulation. Because with the community comes social regulation.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to shame people who go on Instagram and Twitter. You have to be like, hey, dude, that's stupid. Come on, why are you on Twitter and Instagram? And then you kick them off.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they kick themselves off because they want to live up to the society's standards. So.
Josiah says, I love the Amish. Me too, Josiah. I'm one of those weirdos that think the Amish are kind of cool. Like, I think that they're pretty based because think about it. These guys, they don't even have cars. They don't have electricity, but they're still like functioning in the year 2020 without any of that stuff. And they're the happiest some of the happiest people.
Have you seen time lapse of them building barns?
They do it pretty quick.
In like 48 hours, they'll build a gigantic
They just get their community of people to join in and build it and just do it really fast. Men and women, men and the women.
Anthony said at the exact same time that I said it, that social media is the key. You have to starve them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's the poison.
I think so.
You can have, like I said, you can have internet, but you have to shame them off social media.
Yeah, social media, get away from that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Shame. Just ring the shame bell. Ding!
Suicide.
Shame.
Yeah.
The Mormons are similar. Kind of, Commander Oasis. The Mormons are pretty similar, but...
The Mormons are killing it too.
The Mormons are killing it, for sure.
Isn't it strange how you look at these communities like the Amish and the Mormons who you previously would have just looked at and be like, oh, those are weird. What are they doing?
They're crazy. There's those crazy fundamentalists.
They're crazy. They're like, their life must suck. When you really think about it.
They're happier than we are.
Way happier.
Because they don't have these other distractions like leading them down the path of just darkness and depravity.
And that's a perfect example. When people say that you can't do what I'm proposing, where you fall back, create your own communities, re-strengthen around the American values, principles of freedom, liberty, all that kind of stuff, they say that can't happen. You just point to the Amish.
Right?
Be like, dude, look, these guys are dominating.
They're Amish across the country.
Look at the Mormons. They're dominating.
Yeah, they are.
So you can't say there's no working examples of the principles that I'm trying to say.
They are
because there are.
They're living examples.
Yeah.
Life Roll Toll says the Mormons have the internet, though. That's true. The Mormons do have the internet.
Cool with that.
I'm cool with Jeremy.
I know some Mormons. They're cool.
I was going to say, Jeremy, you just need to become a Mormon.
I know some Mormons. They're
You
some of the
just
coolest
need to
guys
believe
I've
in the
ever met.
teachings of Joseph Smith, and then you can be an Amish, but with internet.
The problem is the religious aspect.
Yeah, that religious aspect,
but
though.
Again, it comes down to the Christianity, for example. It's a framework for successful society.
It is.
You almost need that storytelling aspect.
You do.
As the conduit to pass down the principles by which you live a successful society.
That's what the ancient Greeks and Romans did with their mythology.
So they may have the magic underwear or whatever in the Mormon society.
The special underwear.
But if that's what
they only have sex to procreate.
If that's what it takes to have a successful society, then I can't knock it.
Right?
I can't.
I mean, and if you're raised with that kind of mindset and that lifestyle, it's much easier to live it. Whereas, like, if you're not raised with it and then you try to go into it, and
absolutely.
It's like, oh crap, I have to wear this special underwear and I can't sleep with my partner unless it's to procreate. To
bring it back to my analogy, the answer to Ken's earlier question is that, these people that can't adapt, you can't take a tiger from the wild and then domesticate it.
No, and then you can't take a domesticated tiger and put it in the wild.
Exactly. You have to be born into it, which is the key of why you have to have the community, because the community
is the key.
Community creates that environment to where you bring people up in those values.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's you're so smart, Jeremy. That is so you're right on that. We've been saying this for a while, that community is the key to like helping heal this like wound that we have in this country.
And I'm going to extend an olive branch to all the leftists.
Here's the olive branch for you guys.
The commies and
here's
the socialists.
Here's an olive branch, you crazies.
I'm going to propose that we share the same goal. Because what do they want? They want the communists. It's literally in the name.
Yeah. They want community. Yep.
They want a community where they can share resources with each other. Everyone's equal. Okay, cool. You have your version of community. You can do that. I have my version of community.
We can live in harmony.
My philosophy can also apply to them. They can form their own communities. I would love a system where America and each of the states are broken up into individual like very different kind of countries with different laws.
Yeah.
Where, let's say, for example,
Individual sovereignty.
California can have a bunch of communes, and then Texas, for example, can have a bunch of villages with people who are liberty-loving and free communities. You know what I mean? Like that would be, I think, the ideal system, as opposed to having just this kind of blatant, flat, gross, gray culture / society across everything. That's not conducive to success.
It's not. Yeah. Maybe
We all want the same thing, which is community, and we're all fighting against all these changes that are taking us away from
we're all fighting against each other, but we're all fighting for the same thing. That's what's like the crazy thing about what's going on in this country. It's like we are literally all fighting each other for the same thing.
Crypto Trader says olive branch of lead.
For real though.
There's always somebody that wants to take that approach.
I mean, let's give him the lead and Crypto Trade. Let's give him the lead and let's give him an olive branch of like mercury as well, just to give him that extra poison.
Ken, this is vodka, straight vodka, sir. It's
Yep.
my drink of choice.
He loves the straight vodka or the straight gin. He's the hard liquor drinker of the two of us. I'm the light shit because I'm light.
Yeah, see, we're already red pilling some of the audience here. Dave says having 50.1% of the population rule over 49.9% doesn't make sense anymore.
It doesn't, yeah.
The problem is that I was talking about one of my buddies today, and I think most of the chat will agree with me, is that the problem with our political system today is that it's not scalable. Communism isn't scalable either.
It's not.
It's not scalable for a nationwide 350 million person system. It works great in like a under small populations, small communes, but we can't have one system of government that controls both a 25 million person city like Los Angeles, but then also
a whole country,
Hoboken Town, Ohio.
Yeah, it's not. You can't have the same systems working for the same types of scenarios.
It has to evolve. Like the founding fathers were great. I loved everything they did, but with this, we can't have one system that governs both the giant cities and everything else. It just doesn't work.
Says balkanization won't work. Addicted to Drum says balkanization won't work. Maybe.
And then Crypto says balkanizing is inevitable.
Yeah, probably.
Leaders actually said to stop calling them social. Denmark leaders actually said to stop calling them socialist. Yeah, they did.
They did. They told Bernie Sanders to stop calling them socialist because they're not. Actually, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, they're actually more free market capitalist than America. But when it comes to their their business taxes and their corporate taxes and stuff like that, they actually have like way less regulation, way less taxes than we do. But when it comes to their personal individual taxes, they have to pay way more. So it's kind of like America, but a little bit flipped, Whereas America, we pay a little bit more in higher corporate tax, but they pay a little less in personal. So in Sweden and Denmark and
they had a nice cushion of capitalism. They
got their cushion of capitalism, and also too, these countries they've had generational wealth for hundreds of years.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, they just have all this wealth just built underneath them. So if they have to take a loss by giving welfare to people, they're like, okay, fine, go for it. It's fine. I'll sacrifice my hundreds of millions of euros to give to people. It's cool. Whereas Americans were like, no, I don't want to give some illegal immigrant health care. Are you kidding me? Nah, no, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think so. The comment about balkanizing, I want to go back to that.
Okay.
Because it actually relates to what we've said before. With now all these trends that are happening. Look at what's happening with COVID. People are doing what? They're leaving cities in mass droves.
They're going out to the country, yo.
They're decentralizing. Okay, so whoever said balkanizing won't work, addicted, it's already happening, man.
Yeah.
Like people are already decentralizing. Balkanization is a different word for it, but we're decentralizing out of the cities into smaller individual towns and units. Maybe we're going to find that the people who go to those towns are going to bring their politics and beliefs with them, and they're going to toxify those environments. But the more likely scenario is that they adapt to those scenarios and those environments, and that they realize that, wait, the city is maybe not the best way to live.
Yeah. Maybe living on top of or underneath a bunch of people and just all around each other isn't the way I want to live for the rest of my life.
And that's a trend in everything. It's a trend in technology. Look at crypto. I mean, the guy's name is Crypto Trader.
Yeah, crypto trader.
Decentralization of technology, decentralization of society.
Mm-hmm.
Decentralization is kind of like a theme that I think is going to be really huge in the next 100 years.
I hope so.
Everyone's working remote. You don't have to live anywhere to work anywhere
You're
anymore.
right.
Everything's getting spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So banking is going to be decentralized eventually when it gets into crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So all your money, everything you do.
We're at the precipice, my friend.
So balkanization might not be the right word, but you're right. We're at the precipice of like a crazy, I think, a movement of decentralization.
I think that this decentralization has been on the forefront of everybody's mind. It's just lately now it's
There was no real like
no like way to punch through and get away from it, but
push.
now with like internet, smartphones, just everything that we have, COVID technology, just our ingenuitous spirit, we all are sick of having to be tapped into the main line for power or whatever it may be. So we're all just kind of like trying to figure out how can we get away from having this centralized power.
Yeah.
Like one of my biggest things that I've been talking about, especially with energy here in California, I was talking to my roommate about it the other night. I was like, dude, think about it. When you want to have electricity here in Sacramento or in California, what two companies do you have to pick from to get your power?
SMUD and PG&E.
Unless you live in like Placer County or Roseville, where you can like get your energy from the city of Roseville. But the city of Roseville, guess what? It's a Republican-run city. But that's the point. The point I'm trying to make is like in Sacramento, we're so like tapped into the main systems that when those main systems go down, there's no other secondary system. There's no other choice besides SMUD or PG&E.
People are waking up to those kinds of...
And we need to get more competition.
Yeah.
We need it. Like, we can't just have, like, two companies or
diversification
3 companies.
and decentralization.
Let's do it. I'm all for that.
Yeah, those double Ds.
Them double Ds, baby.
I had to, sorry.
Double Ds, baby.
I'm sorry.
I love me some double Ds. Who doesn't love double Ds? Except maybe you. All right, let's go through some chat, y'all, because you guys, you've been hitting us up on this chat tonight. Hell yeah.
Johan says, I still feel like we need a federal government. It just needs to be very limited.
I agree. We do need a federal government when it comes to, our borders, when it comes to, our military.
What is the role of the federal government in your eyes?
To protect and maintain our borders.
Like if you were to make a bullet points.
Protect and maintain our borders. They're in charge of like our military defense, and that's pretty much it. Everything else should be up to the state.
I agree with you on that. That's it. That's all they do.
Everything else should be up to the state.
That's all they do is
that's
defend.
all the federal government should do. But now we've just involved the federal government into a lot of other things in our lives. We need to get rid of that.
Agreed, Johan.
Agreed. Yes.
Ken asks, "What do you two do for a living?"
Well, Ken, I used to be a cook in a bunch of different restaurants here in Sacramento, and I've always kind of had a natural propensity to sing and entertain and talk and stuff like that. And then I met this guy because I followed him on his channel. I met him at a protest, and he kind of fell in love with me, and we've been chatting ever since. And but he's the smart one, not me.
I think it's important actually to point this out because when you listen to commentators or political commentators, pundits, you hear a perspective, you hear an opinion, you hear an angle on these topics, but you don't really know where they're coming from. I think it is actually important to say that what you do for a living, how you built the perspective, where you're coming from. So I never really talked about it that much before, but I'm a cybersecurity consultant. I have a degree in cyber defense. And I also own some other small businesses on the side. I have several smaller projects. I do. I'm an entrepreneur, yes, as well.
He's a Renaissance man. He's a very, very smart young man. Like very, 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 very like.
But I'm very. Let's just say primarily, I'm very hooked into technology. I understand what's happening with all this kind of stuff. I'm very hooked into. It's a high stakes environment, okay? So you have to be on your game all the time. Let's just say that.
But thank you for the question. We're always happy to answer those ones.
Yeah, we don't really do much personal stuff. So
yeah, we try to not get so personal, but
I'm happy to answer that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a regular Joe Schmo, like not that. I mean, I come from a regular regular family, just had a regular job, but because of COVID and, all this stuff going on, and I got laid off from my job, and I've had all this time to think about what's going on and talk and listen to other people. So when I met Jeremy, I was like, hey, I think it would be cool if me and you get together and kind of talk about some stuff. Just two kind of different but similar perspectives, just kind of sitting down and proving to people like, hey, you got like a straight white male and a kind of brown lesbian here talking to each other, and we don't hate each other. Look at that. How about that? Look at that, breaking stereotypes every day.
David's got a good point. He says that Brexit is another sign of balkanization. True. They're breaking up over there. Decentralization. Again, like I said,
agree.
decentralization.
I'm 100% on board.
And the
with
U.S.
Brexit.
leaving globalist organizations like WHO.
Good.
Decentralization.
Get out of it. We don't need the WHO. They're a bunch of idiots. Yes. I don't even like the UN, honestly.
Addicted has a great point. He says, we're going through a communist revolution in our country. They're using the cities because they can control them. Patriots see this and leave. So the cities are where all the institutions are centralized. That's where the institutions have all their influence and their power.
Yep.
So of course that's where they're gonna pivot off of, right?
Of course, it's easier to convince a city full of people and have those city full of people convince their family and friends that live outside the city to do like what they think is right, even though it might not be right. It might be something wrong that's masses right.
Kelsey Baker, I don't know who that is, but
ooh, we got a new person in the chat. Kelsey. Oh no, Kelsey Baker told me to listen to you guys. I don't know who Kelsey Baker is, but thank you, Kelsey Baker, for referring us.
I was cybersecurity for gambling. Hey, there you go.
There you go.
See?
There you go, Ken.
You understand.
You understand. It's never ending.
And we got another guy. Joe says he was in cybersecurity too.
Hemp now.
Boom.
He's in hemp now. Oh, hemp is a growing field, my friend.
Are smart. I told you that. Oh, he's in it. Oh, the Antifa guy. Yeah, that's right. The stick man. I call him the stick man.
Love it. Oh,
I get the joke now.
Kelsey Baker's the stick man.
I get the joke now. Good one, Crypto.
Stick
that was good.
man named Kelsey. Good. Feel bad for that person.
Solid reference.
Good. I love it. Love it. Love it. If you make people dependent on the government, they'll never leave. They can't and will know nothing but dependence. You're right. You were so right about that, Commander. Commander
Why
Osis.
Would you?
Yeah, why would you?
Life is all about incentives. And if you're incentivized to not work, why would you work?
Yeah.
People are going to naturally follow incentives.
Yeah, why would you
Unless
work
they have
if you
some
get
other
paid more money to not work?
Yeah. Yep.
If you get paid more money to sit on your butt and just complain on the internet all day.
There's two types of people in the world. People who understand incentives and people who don't.
Josiah says, did you guys ever watch Owen Schroyer? I watch Owen Schroyer, but I don't know if there's anything specific you wanted me to watch from Owen Schroyer. But I do watch him. I enjoy some of his stuff. He's got a nice voice.
I've watched Owen Schroyer, and I've also met him several times at protests.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Well, aren't you?
He interviewed me once.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sure he enjoyed it.
I'm sure you could probably find an archive somewhere of the live stream. The live stream it was Portland, the second Unite the Right rally or whatever in Portland. And that was a war zone. But yeah, Owen Schroyer interviewed me there.
That was cool.
That was fun.
We'll have to...
Yeah, he's a boss for sure. He's a boss.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would like to interview with him. I would like to interview with any of them, honestly.
That guy is so white. Are you talking about me? Very white, and I flaunt it.
Yeah, Jeremy is very white, and he's proud of it. And you know what? Be proud of it, dude.
Anthony, exactly, man. Hey, we're tired of it too, man. So we gotta.
Yeah, we're tired of it too, man.
Come up with a strategy.
That's why we're here. We're here to let everybody know, we're here. This is who we are. You know, it's okay if you disagree, or it's okay if you agree on everything, but it's at least have the conversations. Stop censoring yourself just because you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of talking about the topics that most people are,
Oh, I know you aren't.
Well, the plan long term is I'm going to have a website set up. We're going to be streaming on multiple platforms. We're going to draw people into the site.
Yeah.
So that if you get banned off of YouTube for whatever reason, then the site is always going to be there. Okay, there's going to be backup. There's always a contingency plan in place.
Just like when they banned Alex Jones.
We've only got 20 million viewers right now, so we don't have that much attention. But when we get, when we get 100 million viewers,
when we get 100 million,
or a billion viewers,
oh yeah,
we're gonna get on their radar.
We're gonna get on the radar of YouTube, and they're gonna
enjoy it while you can, guys.
Enjoy us while you can before we break out and everybody knows who we are.
That's right.
Before all the hot lesbians that all the hot lesbians figure out who I am and like try to get on this, and like I get distracted, and it's like, oh, Delaney, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know where I started. Weekly narrative.
I feel your pain, Osis. Yeah, I got to self-censor a lot here in California.
Yeah, you do. I got to self-censor with all.
I got a strategy for that too, but I think, did you have anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Besides that protest that happened earlier today that neither of us went to, we should maybe talk about that a little bit, because that one's kind of funny.
So somebody got arrested at it.
So there was a. For those who don't know, we're in Sacramento, and there was a Stop the Steal event at the Capitol down the street from where we're at right now. And
oh, yes, the Nazi fascist hordes came out.
Yeah,
finally.
the Nazi fascist brigade.
The hordes finally came out.
Yeah.
The violent hordes of Nazis.
They're blue, red, white, and blue, and they're Trump flags and Make America Great Again flags, and they weren't.
I was wondering where they were.
Yeah. They were here, and they were making their presence known. And one of them got arrested, apparently, because they got into a fight with somebody. Probably an Antifa, agitator or some shit like that. But, they got, it happens.
One arrested as Trump supporters and protesters gathered at State Capitol in downtown.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice video here for us to see the visual.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I was out of town for this, but I probably would have attended.
Look at that guy in the yellow kilt.
They look like they're LARPing, to be honest, with the kilt and all
they
that.
They kind of are, like, both sides, the left and the right, they kind of are LARPing when they go.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go to this, because I felt it was going to be like a total LARPing scenario.
That guy, Bin Dong, definitely a white supremacist.
Total white supremacist. Bing Dong, total white supremacist. You know that he has like a hood and a robe in his closet when he goes home.
Yes.
You know that he's totally into burning crosses when he goes home, and just hating people and swastikas and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, you guys can't call us biased for not covering the fascist, violent Nazi hordes here.
Yeah, we can't be biased because look, we're talking shit about the Trump supporters.
One person arrested on assault charges, but no one was injured.
Yeah, so
that's the extent of the fascist Nazi invasion.
Yep. We have been asking for months. Is there any evidence that the Trump supporters are violent and mean and just terrible? Here you go, folks.
Found some.
Right there. We found it here locally.
Fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. Here you go. We found one here in Sac. They beat up one Antifa little plebe out in front of the Capitol.
Actually, I'm glad we covered that because on our way out, because next weekend there is a actual permanent event at the Capitol for Save the Restaurants.
Yes.
So this is going to be presumably a bunch of restaurant owners with no political affiliation.
Just apolitical.
Just restaurant owners
just business
coming
owners.
Up against California saying, hey, we're tired of your shit.
We're tired of these mandates. We're tired of the lockdowns. We're tired of you telling us that we can't have our businesses open all the way and make money.
Yep.
They're tired of it. Tell me about it.
Tired of the fascism and the authoritarianism.
Tired of being treated like we're 4 years old, and we're not.
So, hey, there you go, Crypto. If you want to go to that one, there's one next week on the 28th.
Yes.
Saturday.
Come to Sac and meet us. We'll be there. I mean, I'm going to be there.
There might be one in your local capital
or there might
as well.
might be one wherever you are locally. But yeah, it's Save the Restaurants or whatever. But yeah, we're going to be there. I'll be there.
See what happens.
See what happens.
Might be video worthy.
Maybe if it's not, then oh well. But we'll
check it out.
We'll check it out and maybe hopefully get some content.
We'll
for
report
you guys.
back.
Yeah, we'll report back to you guys. But is there anything else you wanted to cover tonight?
That was it.
That was it?
I don't know how much more we could cover. I mean, we saved civilization. We figured out the strategy for outliving.
We stopped racism.
We stopped racism. We uncovered all the fake, hateful transgender narratives. What more could we have done in one stream?
Yeah, and we also have declared that Asians are no longer people of color. They're white.
Finally got that taken care of.
We finally got that argument out of the way, that Asians are white now. Even if they're brown skinned, they're white.
Hey, Sir Bader shows up right at the end.
Oh, Sir Bader. We missed you, man. You know what you can do, Sir Bader, is after the stream is over, you can go ahead and watch it again. And then like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Because we want, if you don't hit the notification bell, how are you supposed to know when we're here? And we're queer, and we're going live for you guys.
She's queer.
I'm queer, not him.
Straight.
Yeah, he's super straight. Not into that queer shit.
No.
No way.
Exactly. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this show. I thought we covered a lot of great topics.
I thought we did a good job. That was a pretty good one.
It was a great Saturday night hangout.
It was a good. I enjoyed it.
Yep.
That was a good hangout, you guys.
Like we said, like all the stuff. Just subscribe, like, hit the like button. Help us fight the algorithm.
Help
okay?
us.
And
Help us, help you, help us.
Exactly.
Because that makes sense.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll probably be back here on Tuesday. Follow my parlor in the description if you want to get notifications ahead of time when we're going to go late, or we're going to go live. And yeah, that's the best way to follow us.
All right.
All right, bros.
All right, Life Roll
you next time.
Toll. Great show, great chat. Good for you, man. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night, you guys. And
Thanks, guys. It was
thank
awesome.
you for joining us on Weekly Narrative.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Bye-bye.